here's the rear suspension unit. This is the next project because this bush is non-existent. The genuine little collars, but this, as it is all wrong. Someone has machined that with an angle grinder to fit in the hole. I need to lathe this down, and it's just a little bit too long as well. I'm going to it's just a little bit too long, and you'll see how I'm going to do this. So all I've got to do, I could tip my molten plastic in there and drill a hole in for the sleeve that has to go in between here and here with a 12mm hole, or my sleeve options are make a sleeve out of this or that, drop the sleeve in and tip the molten plastic around that, and then put the bolt through it. That cork, the cork, is a perfect seal in there, so that's step one. Now I've just got to fill it up. Once I make sure this is flat, fill it up to this level in there. I've got to get a C-clip, internal C-clip for that, and job's a good one. So here's my little plan. I'm going to hold this in the chucker device, chucker the lathe. I'm going to turn that down so that it fits this 12mm diameter, so that it's interference snug fit, while I then turn the diameter down of this to become the sleeve in there. That would be about the width of the pen. That's the plan. So I've got my there's got to be a word for that. Anyway, it's the workpiece at the moment. I'm going to clock it in with my clock. Let's put that on the carriage, move it up and down. So turning it down in this position, isn't that fun? Okay, the bush sleeve is now on the, there's got to be a word for that. And I'm going to turn that down. Right, well, I've put the bush in the hole. I've filled the bush up with paper. I've used a cork at the bottom, and I've just got to fill it with the molten plastic to the right level, and hopefully my pouring will be accurate enough. It's going to be an unfilmable thing because I don't have a tripod, so let's go. Well, I've tipped the stuff in there. There was a bit more in there than I would have liked. It went over my snap ring mark. And now I've just got to wait 6 hours. That'll be fun. So I'll have to find the torque settings for these. Just put that in there loosely. And obviously got to do all the nuts up, torque that. 42 foot-pound, don't know what that is yet, and there it is. Right, preliminary inspection just shows they're leaking, but I was going to do these anyway. That's like this. Now what? I think that's where the ignition might screw on. Looks like it's had a hit. So this is the top yoke, and luckily it's a 10 quid part. I might get a new one. So a closer look at this reveals that these are broken bolts, probably that hold the mudguard onto these four. So I'll have to get those out at one point. I don't know what this is. It might just hold a bit of trim in place or something. This has been re-drilled, taken it out completely. this is there's a broken bolt in this thread and they've drilled around the other side of it. So to be honest, I think this has had it. Okay, looking at my DT125R swing arm bar, I think it's going to need a respray because of the amount of... Now we have got a spindle, so I'm going to have to check the, you know, the bearings. I've got a screw missing here, that's a bit annoying. So I'll have to make a shopping list on that. And then I've already got these, so I can, I think I'll have to take all this off. These match, they're not really original. So I'll just take all this off, give it a rub down, quick respray with the silver paint, and so we just need to strip this stuff down. So I just wanted to give these just a cursory clean. There's overspray on these, silver overspray on these, there's residue of black paint on these, a little bit of black paint there. They're just sun faded. It's not worth trying to clean them up any more than that, because otherwise they'll stick out too much. Here we've got one of these lugs inside the swing arm bar, and according to this it's supposed to be 66.45mm. There's a tolerance there. Let's just have a quick measure of this and see what we've got. We've got 66.68. Let's just have a look, and that is well within the tolerance, so that's good. So here I have the washer, which fits inside the thrust cover. It's number 5, and it might need to be shimmed out depending on its thickness. So let's have a look at the thickness. I've got 0.81, and that it should be 0.7 or 0.9, and 0.81 is right in the middle of that, so that's good. So dismantling the swing arm, I found that spare washer that I was looking for, a £6 washer for the swing arm relay, and so that saves me that £6. Okay, here I am in the depths of the garage, measuring the engine boss on the DT. I can't get it in because there's so much stuff here. Okay, there we go, that's the engine boss distance. It's got to be quite precise. It's got some damage. There is some damage here, but it's not actually damaged the engine boss. It's superfluous, in other words. Alright, well that's my distance. It's 72.8. 72.77. Okay, obviously I can't measure the whole distance, so let's just measure this little distance, and we've got 6343. Then we're going to measure this little distance, which comes in at 6336, and then I'll measure in between. Oops, I'm measuring the seal there, and that comes in at 7653. And we'll add those up together and we'll see what happens. Actually measuring the pivot width with the caps on actually made it add up to within the tolerance without shims. So I'm going to give it a try. This is a discrepancy with the other swing arm that I've got. Should have some sort of spacer here for the buffer, and the buffer has lost kind of plastic on here, so there could be something amiss with this, so I might have to use the other swing arm after all. Yeah, so I've put these side by side and the discrepancy is here and here. It's the only thing different. And of course this one has got a grease nipple here, which I will have to put on there. And there's one on the other side that will have to go here. But I need to make sure that this grease nipple doesn't foul the buffer when it goes there. So I'll have to make sure my measurement's good, because it's in a photo, it is snug. Okay, so here's the inside of the swing arm bar, showing the caged bearings and the bush at the other end, and here's my tapped M6 hole for the grease nipple, which goes in between the two. It's just perfect there, same as this one actually. I've just got the other side. So I have removed the offending bearing from in there, and I've actually started to sand that down. I just need to get in there and neaten it up, really neaten it up, ready for spraying. So here's the remains of the old seal, and here is the bearing with minus the cage full of rollers, and it just seemed to get caught, and maybe there's something's happened with this lock in the past, but I had to bang it past that as well, and it's got some serial numbers on the back which I can check out later. Nature's spray booth. Yes. Just about prepped it, didn't I? It's one of them things, isn't it? You can always find little blemishes in there. I mean, this looks like original paintwork to me. And original paintwork, apart from some little scuffs here, and it's not too bad. And the alternative is to paint it with this. And I've got a feeling it's probably better to leave this like that, because it's always going to be worth more in original parts. Now the reason I had to buy a new swing arm is because you can't get these anymore. And these are what the other one lacked. It was also fitted with the bushes that I would have had to buy. One of the bearings was alright, it had a spindle, the thrust caps and the washers, these things, although the thrust caps and the washers are still available for a tenner a set. And that is why I bought a new swing arm. I have got the old swing arm, but like I say, it needs a pair of these and you can't get them anymore. They're hard to find. Here is the TLA 222OZ bearing replacement going into the swing arm, and that's my 12 M12 stud in effect, held on one end with the mole grips, going in quite easily actually, but don't have a tripod, so yeah, that's in now using the stud there. That was well worth the money because it didn't take very long to get it in there. And if you have a look in there, you can see my grease nipple mark. That's nice. So this is getting ready to be fitted. I'm going to leave the buffer and the chain guide at the bottom there until after it's on, because I think it's going to flap about a bit when I put the headstock bearings on, so I don't want any of the plastic. These are low key enough not to get broken. Now just the discrepancy is which way round this actual spindle actually goes. Does it? I've got a feeling it actually goes the other side, because the crown nut for the rear wheel will be here, and I think the nuts would probably be on the same side. Anyway, I'll look in the diagram for that. Easy to turn the spindle around. It's got to come out to fit it on anyway. So here we are. This is fitted, and it's a good job I did it up finger tight, because the rear suspension has to come out really. And then you put the bolt in. The spindle bolt goes in, and then you can put the suspension on, and then finally the one underneath goes on. It's a good job I didn't have the buffer on, because these, which aren't original, would have fouled it. So I've got to saw those off to the right length. Right, there's some ambiguity as to whether I should have this dust seal on there or not. I mean, it's turning quite good, but I haven't got a clue, you see. I mean, and I've left the top one black and the bottom one silver, because I don't know whether it's I can't be bothered to paint it, but that must be what it is. Anyway, once the forks are on, I might actually adjust it to a different, and this pinch bolt's got to be done up. The whole thing is a bit weird. I mean, it's nice, but it's just a bit tight.